Doesn't this remind you of a White Sox game?
Yep, it also reminds me of bad baseball.
It's a good song, though. Welcome back to Ryan and Ryan here on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky. And Aaron Boone took Shelby Miller with the final pick of the Cornerstone draft, which kind of confused us because there were plenty of players like Strasburg and Kyle Schwarber, Byron Buxton, Noah Syndergaard that I'd rather have over Shelby Miller, even though he could be a really good pitcher. There's better players available.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, there was.
Time to talk with the Bulls' awful hire of Fred Hoiberg. And I mean awful, I mean absolutely horrible.
There were a lot of other people out there that they could have gone after.
Oh, yeah, Monty Williams is joining the...
Monty Williams would have been my first choice.
He joined the Thunder as an assistant coach.
Yeah, and that'll help the Thunder, although we don't know how long Kevin Durant's going to stay there. Next year might be his last year.
Yeah, the top assistant in Oklahoma City, and... So Tom Thibodeau's contract paid him an average of $4.5 million per year in the last extension he signed. Fred Hoiberg's getting $5 million a year,
more than Tom Thibodeau,
who is regarded as one of the best coaches in the game.
Yep. Well, it's because they want him. So it's like Gar Forman and John Paxson are so certain that Fred Hoiberg's the guy, and I just can't wait for it to blow up in their face because then they'll be out of here faster than they should be. Maybe not John Paxson, but Gar Forman will be out of here
John
faster
Paxson needs
than
to
you
go
think.
too. Because
well, the thing is, John Paxson's in that Bulls family, and Jerry Reinsdorf won't get rid of him.
No, even though he does need to go because he keeps having feuds with the coaches, and I'm starting to think it's John Paxson.
Yeah, well, it's both. I mean, they've done a good job drafting the last few years, but
how much of that do you have to think points to the success of the development of Tom Thibodeau?
Right.
Tom Thibodeau developing
Tony
players?
Snell's going to be a nothing next year.
I mean, do you think
Doug McDermott might get more playing time?
Yeah,
but that's
Doug
about
McDermott was a good pick. Except, do you think that Jimmy Butler would have turned into the player that he has without Tom Thibodeau?
No, I think Jimmy Butler would still be a very good player.
I don't think he would have been like the player he was last year.
Not all-star caliber like he was last year.
And Taj Gibson, he might go back to being a little worse because his career took a huge step forward when Tom Thibodeau was hired, and he got better every year with Tom Thibodeau.
I just feel like the players aren't going to respect Fred Hoiberg the way they respect Tom Thibodeau.
One thing that annoyed me when I saw an interview with Fred Hoiberg, I forget who, it might have been Pat Boyle or Pat Bowden, or Mark Shanowski interviewed. It was Mark Shanowski that interviewed Fred Hoiberg, and he asked him, what's something that you might think that will make the Bulls really successful regarding the offense? He said, well, we had one of the most fast-paced offenses in all of college basketball.
Yeah, that doesn't translate to the NBA game, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's a former Bulls player. I mean, at least he does know something about the NBA because he played there. I think he might have been an assistant coach somewhere.
Well, sure, but I think it's a terrible
hire still, and especially for the money they're paying him. Jerry Reinsdorf is never going to let the Bulls fire him.
Yeah, I don't like the move. At this stage in the game,
5 years. They gave Tom Thibodeau 3 years.
At this stage of the game, I mean, in all actuality, this is going to be the last coach that Derrick Rose plays for. So
yeah.
So I mean, is this how we want the Derrick Rose era to go down, with someone who hasn't been a head coach before? And it's almost like the hire was like made for a rebuilding mode. I know they say
it's almost as if this hire was made months ago. I mean, it was ridiculous. Like, they didn't interview anyone. They're just like, Fred Hoiberg's the guy, and then he used to play for the Bulls. Jerry Reinsdorf probably.
Look at all the other coaches, with the exception of Brad Stevens in Boston. Take a look at all the other coaches in the NBA. They're not college coaches, and they've been, and I mean, Steve Kerr's a first-year coach, but guess what? He's a proven champion. He was an NBA executive, not a very good one, but an NBA executive for the Phoenix Suns. He was also a TV broadcaster for 6 years. He knows what he's doing.
He was a good analyst, and he was also coached by probably the best coach in NBA history in Phil Jackson.
Right. So it's sort of, like if people try to put that comparison, well, Steve Kerr and David Blatt are in their first years. Okay. First of all, David Blatt is good because LeBron James is good.
Steve Kerr actually coaches and does a good job. He would never have Steph Curry inbound the ball with 1 second left in the game.
No, not like David Blatt. I'm glad LeBron James took him out of that play because That would have been bad because they would have missed that shot, and then the Bulls would have went up 3-1, which would have been something.
Yeah, because Cleveland's 0-5 this postseason in overtime game. Or I'm sorry, every game that.
No, you might be right about that. I don't know.
No, because they've only lost 3 games.
They always play horribly in overtimes.
I think that might have been a stat from the regular season that they weren't winning games in overtime, or I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
anyways,
and going back to that too, I just want to talk a little bit, just for like a minute, about the game last night. I mean, it was a game of ups and downs. Golden State grinded out a win, pretty much. The thing that was interesting is at the end, LeBron James wouldn't shoot. He kept passing it off to Timothy Mozgov, and I mean, Mozgov's been pretty good, but he keeps passing it off to different players. He needs to take it himself and be the star that he is and be the best player in the NBA like he is. Instead, he's trying to get other people involved too much. And I mean, a lot of people will say stuff like, well, Michael Jordan did that. He gave the game-winning shot to Paxson, game-winning shot to Kerr, blah, blah, blah. But those guys were wide open. He's passing to guys who aren't open.
Yeah, I remember
that's a problem.
Michael Jordan said that he liked John Paxson because he would always hit an open shot.
Yeah, I mean, John Paxson and Steve Kerr both have game-winning open jumpers.
Yeah, he said John Paxson always hits that wide-open 3.
Right, and of course he did.
Yeah, and did you see Steph Curry is like 14 of 15 for 3-pointers from shooting from the left corner?
Yeah, I think you told me that
he made
last night. You said he's like 90-something% from there?
Yeah, the thing is he went 2 for 2 from that spot last night.
Of course he did. He's probably going to go 4 for 4 from there on Sunday for Game 2. Yeah, it was just really interesting, and I think it was Iman Shumpert had a chance
to win the.
Well, he put up a crazy shot, but it almost went in, and
from 21 feet out.
And after looking at the replay, I mean, it just missed. It was just a little short, and then it bounced off the rim. It was very close to going in. But yeah, going back to Fred Hoiberg,
you and I were
the hire. We were not advocating this hire, and
the one guy we were hoping they wouldn't hire. The only thing. When I saw his press conference, he sounded like a veteran coach. I mean, he sounds good.
Yeah,
he gave a better interview than Tom Thibodeau would.
But still, he's never going to be close to as good of a coach as Tom Thibodeau.
No, he won't.
He may have the charisma and personality that Tom Thibodeau didn't have, but he doesn't have the coaching acumen that Tom Thibodeau has.
I just wonder how he's going to get the respect of a player like Derrick Rose when they start losing.
Right.
Derrick Rose looks like he just doesn't care about anything in life.
I mean, the Bulls will still make the playoffs because they have a talented enough roster in the bad Eastern Conference. But if they were in the Western Conference right now, I'd say they'd be struggling to make the playoffs. They would be struggling.
Probably because they won't have the world-class defense next year. Everyone's going to stop playing defense.
They didn't have the world-class defense now.
Yeah,
I mean
everyone except
they really stopped playing defense.
Everyone except Taj and Noah is going to stop playing defense.
Right. So it's just I mean, we don't like the hire, but
and we probably won't.
I understand that that's what they were going to do in the first place. I know a change needed to be made. I just thought it would go, or I just, in my opinion, thought it would be the other direction.
Or hire like an assistant, like Mark Jackson is on the market, isn't he? Or is he he's an assistant somewhere?
Well, Mark Jackson right now is announcing the NBA Finals along with Jeff.
That's right. He would have been a good
and Mike Breen.
He would have been a better candidate than Fred Hoiberg. And
I don't really like Mike. I don't really like Mark Jackson. I think he would have been better than Hoiberg. I agree, but no, I wouldn't have liked them hiring Mark Jackson.
I mean, Alvin Gentry wouldn't have been a
Lionel
bad
Hollins. I'm not sure what happened to him. Is he out of coaching now? He was pretty good with Memphis. I'm not sure if he's interested in coaching anymore, but
yeah, I don't know.
That could have been another good option. But yeah, Fred Hoiberg, new Bulls head coach.
Unfortunately.
Yes, unfortunately. All right, thank you for joining us this afternoon from 12 to 2 p.m. for the Ryan and Ryan Power Hour. We had Mark Grody on to start off the show to talk about the Cubs and everything going on as they continue their weekend series with the Nationals tonight. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky.
We will see you next week. Have a good day.